Welcome my dear students of 8A and 8B to my civics class. Today I shall discuss about the following points as mentioned in the board. Please look at the points. First point, role as the head of the government. Whose role? The role of the Prime Minister. Next point, role as the head minister. Next point, role as the link between the cabinet and the president. And next point, role as foreign affairs. First one, role as the head of the government. Role as the head of the government. The Prime Minister is the head of the government. Now why? Because as the head of the government, the Prime Minister shoulders all responsibilities. You know, the government, a government which is once formed in the center, the tenure of this government is about 5 years. That means the government can work within 5 years. The government can work till 5 years. And as soon as the tenure is over, the government is dissolved, the government lost its power, and further election is held, and according to that election, a new the political party which gets a majority, that political party forms the government in the center or in the state. So it is depending on the popularity and the works of the political party, how much popularity the political party gains from the works gained from the people within 5 years. That's why as the head of the government, the Prime Minister, frames various types of, policies for the welfare of the country, for the welfare of the people. The Prime Minister establishes cordial relationship with the people of the country. The Prime Minister always tries to avoid any kind of controversial issues while talking to the members of Parliament in the House of Parliament. The Prime Minister always tries to suggest new ideas so as to make the people understand the necessity as the country, so that the country must become a powerful one throughout the world. For example, few people are malpracticing. Few people do not like to follow the system of the fundamental rights, or the fundamental, they do not like to use their fundamental rights. Fundamental rights, not only fundamental rights, the other duties and responsibilities as a people of the country which they should shoulder, like protecting our national emblem, like protecting our national monuments and historical buildings, monuments, and protecting the properties of the government, like that. But apart from doing it, they are destroying government properties, they are harming Indian emblem and insulting our country's national heritage. So these kind of things, lest they may practice this kind of things, the President and the ministers always the President delivers speech during the 15th August Independence Day, and tries to make the people understand about the security, national integrity of the country and the role of the people. As a head of the government, the President, the Prime Minister delivers speech from the Red Fort every year during Independence Day, in order to make the people understand their duties and responsibilities as the citizen of an independent country like India. The next one, role as the head of the minister, head minister. You know, the president is the head minister. There are three types of ministers, you know, cabinet ministers, ministers of state with independent charge, and deputy ministers. The president decides who will become the cabinet ministers, who will be a part of the council of ministers, who will become the deputy ministers. The portfolios and the list of the portfolios are finally done by the president. By the prime minister. So prime minister, before making the final list of the cabinet ministers of the council of ministers, the prime minister consults the other dignitaries, other officials and political leaders, those who later generally become ministers. And before becoming minister, the prime minister decides who will become the deputy minister, who will become the minister of state, and council of ministers. So this decision is the decision of the prime minister, that the selection and making prime ministers. This decision is the decision of the prime minister. His decision is final, because the president makes the cabinet minister. The president makes those persons cabinet ministers. The president has confidence on them. The persons who are whom the president can rely. The persons on whom the president has faith, the president generally makes them as the cabinet ministers or the council of ministers. So each and every minister is made minister as per the decision of the prime minister. But in that case, the prime minister advises the president to appoint them as the cabinet minister, council of ministers, and the ministers of state or deputy minister. So these are the ministers are appointed by the president on advice of the prime minister. Next point, role as the link between the cabinet and the president. The prime minister is the link between the cabinet and the president. Each and every decision of the cabinet is taken by the prime minister, and according to the decision of the prime minister, the cabinet is supposed to work. The cabinet means the most important portfolios, the most important ministers who frames foreign policies as a foreign minister, who submits their budget as a finance minister, and who looks after the internal problem of the country, and who protects the country's security and national integrity as external affairs ministers, and so these are the important ministries. These ministries are the ministers are known as cabinet ministers. That's why the prime minister makes the person who already have gained faith of the prime minister. The persons who are appointed as the ministers for cabinet, they generally become faithful to the prime minister. They have faith. The prime minister has faith on them. Only these persons are appointed as the cabinet ministers or council of ministers, and other ministers also. And next point, and now question is link between the cabinet and the president. The decisions of the country, the policies of the country the policies to protect the country, the policies for the collecting more and more revenues, taxes from the country. These type of decisions are taken by the Prime Minister in consultation with the cabinet, but cabinet Prime Minister is not supposed to consult. Prime Minister consults these matters with the cabinet according to its usefulness, according to his or her need. That's why the Prime Minister consults the cabinet or council of ministers. But the thing is that the decision of framing any new law or decisions of making any policy, these are the messages conveyed by the Prime Minister to the President. So the decision of framing new policies by the cabinet, the President, the Prime Minister conveys it to the President. That's why it is said that the Prime Minister is the link between the cabinet and the President. Besides, the one cabinet minister failed to shoulder his or her responsibilities. In that case, before his dismissal, the Prime Minister advises the President to dismiss him from his or her ministry. So that's why it is due to that reason the Prime Minister is the link between the cabinet and the President. Next point, role in foreign affairs. Role in foreign affairs. The Prime Minister represents India in other parts of the world. As an independent country and head of the country, the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister always tries to establish India's reputation outside the country. The Prime Minister attends a number of meetings and seminars outside the world, outside India, and conveys the message of the country to the people of the world. The Prime Minister puts forward India's opinions and suggestions on Indian and world issues before world leaders. The Prime Minister improves India's relations with other countries, and in that case, while traveling foreign tour, while going for foreign tour, the foreign minister also is a companion of the Prime Minister in order to assist, in order to conducts various seminars, meetings. The foreign ministers also generally goes with the Prime Minister in foreign tour. But the Prime Minister attends meetings and conferences held by the UN, held by the SAARC, and held by the Commonwealth nations and non-aligned nations. As the most important representatives of these conferences, of these meetings, the President conveys, the message of India. The Prime Minister, establishes India's stand and the policies India has framed strongly before the leaders of the world. And besides, the Prime Minister always tries to motivate the world leaders regarding any policy, regarding any decision has been taken by our country, and to make the other political leaders of the world understand its usefulness. The Prime Minister can try to establish his stand on world politics. And besides, the Prime Minister represents India in international forums and various conferences. The Prime Minister plans and designs foreign policies for India, but at the same time, the Prime Minister tries to solve any type of world crisis, any type of political crisis of the world, as the most important representative of an independent country. In that case, with other prime ministers, other heads of different countries of the world, our prime minister gives his suggestions for them, so that the other world leaders may come to know about the decisions of our prime minister, and tries to other world leaders try to find out a solution regarding any political crisis of the world. Up to this, my dear students, thank you.